All right, this is a beautiful imaginary episode number 5, and so this is my day 5 of working on this mural. Um, right now, I am still continuing to work on these vines, adding in some leaves and details all around the elders and that kind of thing. So I worked on a little bit this morning. Now I'm gonna this afternoon continue on and fill in some of the details there. Right now I'm trying to think of a name for this mural, and so I put in a Facebook post that would probably be something nice and profound and Latin sounding probably, but I want to find a word that really describes kind of like a holy picture or a holy image or something along that lines. I may go a completely different route, but that's just my initial thoughts. So anyways, so I'm going to just draw for a little bit. This is how I do in these videos. I just want to document kind of my process and progress in this drawing, just for me personally to look back on at some point, especially once I get the whole thing done. It'd be really cool to look back on the process, and then also as kind of a bit of accountability as I'm putting these out. Just a reminder, hey, you need to put a video out today. Hey, you need to work on it. My goal is to work on this, whether it's 5 minutes or for 5 hours, just work on it every day, a little bit every day. And then hopefully by the end of it, I'll be able to get all 11 feet of this thing drawn in. And at some point, I've also thought of maybe going back over with ink. I think that might be a cool thing to do. But there's something to be said about the pencil. I do love the look of pencil. My fear is over time that it's just going to wear away and get worn, whereas ink will be a little more permanent. But of course, I'm not using like the greatest standard paper either. I just got like the roll that you get at the teacher store. So this might not last very long at all. I don't know. But anyways, I'm going to sit here and draw just for about maybe 3 or 4 minutes, and I just share some thoughts with you guys. And so I want to continue my thoughts on my last video. I talked about just watching some videos on the Orthodox view of Mary, and then I also want to talk a little bit about Roy Liechtenstein, the pop artist. I know it's like two weird subjects to combine together, but either way. So as I said in my video last time, I really kind of struggle with the Orthodox view and the Roman Catholic view of Mary, mostly because, I don't see a whole lot of what they're saying in the Bible. But I watched a video yesterday from a guy that does a website called the 10-Minute Bible Hour, and it's basically a Protestant, and he meets with people from other denominations, and like they kind of talk through all these issues. And he met with a Roman Catholic theologian, and they talked about Mary. And the theologian brought up a lot of really interesting points I'd never considered before. Two of them were, well, one of them he talked about in Revelation 12, where it talks about the woman giving birth to a child, which I make reference to in this painting. This is going to be the woman up here. And I always thought about that as being kind of like a symbolic representation of Israel. But what he was saying is that that's Mary, because Mary gave birth to a child, and then she's basically escorted up to heaven, which I'm thinking, I don't know, I've got to do more research on this. I'm thinking that's where they get the assumption from of Mary, but either way. So I thought that was really interesting and pretty compelling. There was a lot of other things that I wasn't like 100% on board with. Like he said in the Old Testament, a lot of the typology for Mary is like the Ark of the Covenant, the burning bush. He went through a whole bunch of other ones that I just don't see being justified in there, because a lot of the typology you can see being defined that way by the New Testament writers. But either way, one of the other things he said that was really helpful was from their perspective, like Mary is the second Eve, just like Jesus is the second Adam. Now we see that in Romans, 5, I think, where it talks about Jesus being the second Adam. But you don't really see that same distinction literally given to Mary. And the relationship is different too, because Adam and Eve obviously are wife and husband, whereas Mary and Jesus is mother and son. So it's a very different relationship. So I'm not sure how literal we can do that. But it is an interesting comparison. And he talked about in John 4 when Jesus turns to Mary and calls her woman. And he said that's actually a title representing the ultimate, the ideal woman. Just like Jesus is the ideal man, the second Adam, he's turning her and saying woman. It's more than just a custom, or a title given in their culture. It's also a title given to represent she's the ultimate woman, or the second Eve. So I thought it was interesting. I never really heard that perspective before. I'm not 100% on that. I don't know. I need to think through more about that. But anyways, just some interesting thoughts about Mary, just as wrestling with my thoughts on that. So, and then today I was doing some stuff on the computer, and I had a documentary of Roy Liechtenstein in the background. I think that's how you say his last name. But anyways, he was a famous pop artist in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. I'm sure you've seen, if you don't know that name, you've probably seen his artwork. He basically takes the comic book panels, blows them up, and paints them. I really love his art, not just because it's comic book, but because of the process, and then also like what it means and how, especially the pop artists during that time, were taking commoditized items, or like everyday items, painting them as if they were fine art pieces. And I love the kind of the questions that they raise by doing that. So the other thing that's really cool about him that I didn't realize is that he didn't really become well known until he was in his 40s. Before that time, he lived in an average middle class family. He had a bunch of odd jobs. He taught at a college, got an art degree, that kind of thing. But he also was like a window painter and some other things just to make some money. He was married, had kids, like just an average suburban guy. And yet he made these amazing works of art that eventually became world famous. And so it's really cool to hear stories like that, because you usually, when you think of like these really famous innovative artists, you usually think of like these really crazy, like I saw a guy on Facebook who was promoting some kind of product or whatever, and he had like this, his haircut where it was like half his head was shaved, the other half was like way over here, and he was just talking about like trying to find the blackest black painting or something or whatever, and or paint pigment and that kind of thing. And I'm just like, I'm not that guy. I'm not the skinny jeans, different color hair, whatever. I just can't identify with that. And I feel like so many artists do that. It's just kind of played out. Like everyone thinks that they're original because their hair is a different color, or they wear their tight jeans, or they're doing their own thing. But if enough people do that, it's not really that original. So I kind of laugh because, and it's always a problem in art history where, they're resisting the status quo, and in doing that they become a new status quo. It just happens in history over and over and over again. So I just always laugh when I see and I hate to sound judgmental, but it's just kind of like pretentious artists. I'm like, dude, just be normal. I mean, so anyways, those were just two things I was thinking about today. The Virgin Mary and Roy Liechtenstein, as I'm drawing leaves on these branches on my pictures about Jesus. So if that's not eclectic, I don't know what it is. So anyways, that's my update for now. I'm going to continue to put in the vines and the leaves, and I'll get another update soon. If you like these videos, please get on YouTube, subscribe and follow, and watch as I create this 11-foot mural with my mechanical pencil. So have a great day.